Most men are being lied to. You've been told that if you are always emotionally available, always open, always expressive, always ready to listen, women will automatically desire you more. That sounds good. It feels morally correct. It feels modern. But it isn't how attraction actually works. Let's be clear from the start. Women absolutely value emotional intelligence. They value maturity. They value communication. But that is not the same thing as craving constant emotional availability. There is a dangerous misunderstanding happening among men today. Many men believe that showing every emotion at every moment in every situation makes them more attractive. In reality, it often does the opposite. Attraction is not built on comfort alone. Attraction is built on polarity. Polarity means difference, tension, contrast. When a man is always emotionally open, always explaining himself, always seeking emotional closeness, he slowly removes the mystery, the unpredictability, and the sense of grounded strength that naturally fuels attraction. This does not mean becoming cold. It does not mean becoming distant. It does not mean playing games. It means understanding that desire grows in space, not in emotional saturation. Think about it. If everything about you is always accessible, instantly readable, and constantly expressed, there is nothing left for curiosity to explore. Women don't fall in love with men who are emotional speakers. They fall in love with men who are emotionally stable. There is a massive difference. Stability feels like presence. Oversharing feels like neediness. One builds attraction. The other slowly kills it. In this video, I'm going to explain why emotional availability, when misunderstood, becomes unattractive, how men accidentally sabotage their own desirability, and what healthy emotional strength actually looks like. If you've ever wondered why being nice, open, and supportive hasn't produced the results you expected with women, this conversation is for you. 1. Emotional availability is not what you think. Most men hear the phrase, be emotionally available, and immediately assume it means talk about your feelings all the time, explain every thought, share every insecurity, be emotionally open at all moments. That interpretation is wrong. Emotional availability does not mean constant emotional exposure. It means being capable of emotional connection, not permanently broadcasting your inner world. There is a big difference. A man who is emotionally available can connect when necessary. A man who is constantly emotionally open feels the urge to explain himself, justify himself, and express everything he feels in real time. Women don't desire emotional commentary. They desire emotional groundedness. Groundedness means you experience emotions, but they don't control your behavior. You feel, but you don't collapse. You process, but you don't spill everything outward. Many men confuse vulnerability with dumping. Vulnerability is selective. Dumping is uncontrolled. When you constantly share fears, doubts, frustrations, and insecurities, you slowly present yourself as unstable, even if you're not. And instability does not feel safe. It does not feel attractive. Here's the controversial truth. Women are drawn to men who have emotional depth, not men who constantly display emotional depth. Depth is sensed. It's felt in your calmness, your posture, your tone, your consistency, not your monologues. Another misunderstanding is thinking emotional availability means being available whenever she wants emotional access. That turns you into an emotional service provider, not a desirable man. Healthy emotional availability looks like this. You listen when it matters. You speak when it's necessary. You hold space when she needs support. But you still maintain an inner emotional world that is yours. You are not hiding. You are containing. Containment is attractive because containment signals strength. Men who are always emotionally open usually don't realize they're seeking reassurance. They want to be understood. They want validation. They want emotional safety. Those are human needs. But when you seek those needs from women, you're trying to attract, the polarity flips. She becomes the emotional anchor. You become the emotional dependent. Attraction weakens. Emotional availability was never meant to mean emotional dependence. It was meant to mean emotional capacity. You have a well, not a leak. A woman asks how your day was. You had a stressful day at work. You don't unload every frustration, every insecurity, and every fear. You calmly say, it was intense, but I handled what I needed to handle. You remain relaxed. You don't seek sympathy. You don't spiral. That small difference communicates strength, self-trust, and emotional maturity. and those qualities create attraction, not constant emotional openness. 2. Why comfort kills. Desire. Men are taught to prioritize making women comfortable. Be agreeable, be accommodating, be supportive, be safe. None of these are bad, but when comfort becomes your primary strategy, desire slowly disappears. Comfort creates familiarity. Familiarity feels nice. Familiarity feels warm. Familiarity feels predictable. Desire does not grow from predictability. Desire grows from tension, not chaos, not drama. Tension simply means there is something about you that is not fully settled, not fully accessible, not completely known. When a man's entire personality is built around keeping a woman comfortable, he removes that tension. He always agrees, he always reassures, he always adapts, he always explains. Over time, he becomes emotionally transparent and behaviorally predictable. Nothing is left to lean into. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Women don't fantasize about men who feel like emotional couches. They fantasize about men who feel grounded and self-directed. Self-directed means your life has momentum that does not revolve around her. Your goals matter. Your standards exist. Your opinions stay intact. Comfort-focused men abandon these things quietly. They stop disagreeing. They stop challenging. They stop asserting. They think sacrifice equals attraction. It doesn't. It equals erasure. When a man erases himself to maintain comfort, the woman loses respect without realizing why. Respect fading always comes before desire fading. Another mistake men make is confusing emotional safety with emotional stimulation. Emotional safety means she doesn't feel threatened or mistreated. Emotional stimulation means she feels alive around you. You can be safe and boring. You can be kind and uninteresting. Desire needs stimulation. Stimulation comes from presence, from confidence, from unpredictability within structure, not from constant reassurance. Comfort-heavy men often over-explain everything. They explain why they did something. They explain what they meant. They explain how they feel. Explanations flatten mystery. Mystery feeds curiosity. Curiosity feeds attraction. When everything is explained, nothing is felt. Women respond more to what they sense from you than what you tell them. Your tone matters more than your words. Your pace matters more than your explanations. Your stillness matters more than your justifications. Comfort should be a byproduct, not a mission. Your mission should be becoming a man who is internally solid. When you're solid, comfort appears naturally. But when comfort is the goal, solidity disappears. You disagree with her about something small. Instead of instantly backing down to keep peace, you calmly say, "I see it differently," and you hold your position without anger. You don't argue. You don't convince. You don't apologize for existing. That quiet firmness creates more attraction than 100 reassurances ever could. 3. Mystery creates attraction. Most men are uncomfortable with silence. They feel the need to fill every gap, explain every pause, clarify every emotion, reveal every thought. Silence feels risky, so they talk, they overtalk, they overshare, and without realizing it, they slowly erase mystery. Mystery is not pretending to be someone else. Mystery is not lying. Mystery is not playing games. Mystery is simply allowing parts of yourself to unfold naturally instead of all at once. Attraction feeds on discovery. If everything about you is immediately visible, there is nothing left to discover. Many men think women want full access to their inner world from the start. They don't. They want to sense depth, not be flooded by it. There is a difference. Think about how often you feel the urge to explain yourself. You explain why you're quiet, you explain why you're busy, you explain why you reacted a certain way. That urge usually comes from fear. Fear of being misunderstood, fear of being judged, fear of being seen incorrectly. But a man who trusts himself does not rush to correct perceptions. He allows people to experience him. He lets curiosity do the work. When you constantly explain yourself, you remove interpretation. When you remove interpretation, you remove imagination. And imagination is fuel for attraction. Mystery is created through restraint. Restraint in speech, restraint in emotional exposure, restraint in availability, not coldness, not distance, presence with boundaries. Men who struggle with attraction often believe they need to prove who they are, so they list their qualities. They explain their intentions. They narrate their character. But attraction is not built through narration. It's built through consistency, through how you show up, through how you move, through how you handle pressure. Mystery doesn't mean hiding flaws. It means not turning your flaws into a public broadcast. You can be imperfect and still composed. You can have struggles and still be contained. Women feel mystery when they sense there is more to you than what is currently visible. Not because you're withholding, but because you're layered. Layered men are interesting. Flat men are predictable. Predictability creates safety, but too much predictability kills curiosity. You don't need to become quiet. You don't need to become stoic. You need to become selective. Selective with words, selective with emotions, selective with access. When you stop trying to be fully understood, you start becoming intriguing. When you stop chasing validation, you start generating presence. Mystery is not about being unknown, it's about being unrushed. Unrushed energy feels confident. Confident energy feels attractive. That's why mystery creates attraction. 4. Oversharing feels like neediness. Let's be honest. Most men overshare because they are lonely. Not physically, emotionally. They don't feel heard. They don't feel understood. They don't feel validated. So when a woman shows interest, she becomes their emotional outlet. And that is where everything starts going wrong. You tell her about your childhood wounds, your insecurities, your fears, your past failures, your disappointments. You call it honesty. But underneath it is a quiet request. Please accept me. Please reassure me. Please tell me I'm enough. That energy is felt immediately, and it does not feel attractive. Here's the hard truth. Women don't want to become your therapist. They want to become your partner. When you dump emotional weight onto someone you're trying to attract, you reverse roles. She becomes the emotional container. You become the emotional dependent. Desire collapses in that dynamic. Men need to wake up. Being emotionally expressive does not automatically make you emotionally mature. Maturity is not expression. Maturity is regulation. Can you feel deeply without collapsing? Can you struggle without broadcasting? Can you experience pain without demanding comfort? That's emotional strength. Oversharing is often disguised as vulnerability, but vulnerability without self-control is just exposure. And exposure without strength feels unsafe. Many men believe, if I show her everything about me, she will trust me. Trust is not built by information. Trust is built by consistency, by stability, by predictability of character, by how you handle stress, not by confessional monologues. You don't need to turn every emotion into a conversation. You don't need to explain every mood. You don't need to narrate your internal process. You need to build an inner structure, a life, a sense of direction, a sense of self. Right now, too many men are emotionally starving and using women as feeding stations. That is harsh, but it's true. And until you fix your internal world, no amount of sharing will make you desirable. You should have outlets that are not women you're trying to date. Purpose, work, fitness, creative expression, male friendships. These things absorb emotional pressure. When you have nowhere else to put your emotions, you leak them everywhere. And leaks are unattractive. Wake up. Your job is not to be emotionally naked. Your job is to be emotionally solid. Solid men are calm. Calm men are grounding. Grounding men are attractive. 5. Stability beats sensitivity. Men today are being encouraged to become more sensitive. Again, that sounds good. But nobody explains what that actually means. So many men interpret be sensitive as react more, feel more, express more, share more. That is not sensitivity, that is reactivity, and reactivity is unattractive. Real sensitivity is awareness, awareness of yourself, awareness of others, awareness of situations, not emotional flooding. Women don't desire men who feel everything intensely. They desire men who can handle what they feel. There is a huge difference. You can be deeply emotional and still unstable. You can be emotionally quiet and deeply stable. Stability always wins. Stability feels like safety. Not the boring kind, the grounding kind. The kind that allows a woman to relax into her feminine energy instead of feeling like she has to manage yours. Many men don't realize how often they emotionally lean on women. They look for reassurance. They look for soothing. They look for validation. They call it connection. But it's dependency, and dependency kills attraction. Sensitive men who are unstable create emotional labor. Stable men create emotional shelter. One drains, one anchors. Ask yourself honestly, when something goes wrong, do you spiral? Do you vent immediately? Do you emotionally unload? Or do you pause? Do you regulate? Do you think? Do you handle it quietly first? That pause is power. That pause is masculine. That pause communicates, I've got myself. Women are drawn to men who have themselves, not men who are constantly trying to be held. Sensitivity without structure turns into fragility. Fragility creates caution. Caution kills desire. Stability does not mean you never share. It means you choose when and how you share. It means your emotions move through you, not out of you uncontrollably. It means your inner world is organized. Most men spend years trying to become more expressive. Very few spend years trying to become more solid. Be the second man, build routines, build discipline, build self-respect, build emotional control. Then, when you do speak, your words carry weight because they are rare, because they are grounded, because they come from a stable core. Women don't crave men who feel deeply. They crave men who are deeply rooted. Rooted men feel safe. Safe men feel strong. Strong men are attractive. 6. Strong men control emotional access. Most men don't realize this, but not everyone deserves access to your inner world. You were never meant to give full emotional access to anyone who shows interest. Yet many men do exactly that. A woman asks a few personal questions, shows a little curiosity, offers a little warmth. Suddenly, the doors are wide open. Life story, traumas, fears, dreams, doubts, no filter, no pacing, no boundaries. That is not openness. That is lack of emotional discipline. Strong men understand something simple. Access is earned, not through time alone, not through attention alone, but through consistent behavior. When you give full emotional access too quickly, you devalue it. Anything that is freely given without standards feels cheap. That includes emotional intimacy. Controlling emotional access does not mean being closed. It means being intentional. It means you decide who gets to see which parts of you and when. Most men are terrified of being misunderstood, so they overshare in hopes of controlling perception. But you cannot control perception. You can only control your behavior. Strong men are okay with being misunderstood, not because they don't care, but because they trust who they are. They don't chase understanding. They let understanding develop. When you try too hard to be understood, you communicate insecurity. Insecurity weakens attraction. Strong men don't beg for emotional closeness. They allow closeness to grow. They don't rush bonding. They don't fast-track intimacy. They let connection breathe. Many men treat emotional access like a gift they're desperate to give. Strong men treat emotional access like a door that opens slowly, layer by layer, not because they're scared, but because they're stable. They don't need instant emotional merging to feel okay. They already feel okay. That self-sufficiency is magnetic. Controlling emotional access also means knowing when not to engage emotionally. Every comment does not require a response. Every mood does not require discussion. Every feeling does not require sharing. You can feel something and still keep moving. You can notice something and still stay silent. That restraint builds presence. Presence builds gravity. Gravity builds attraction. Strong men are not emotionally stingy. They are emotionally sovereign. They own their inner world. They don't hand it over for approval. They don't trade it for attention. They don't use it as currency. They treat their emotional life as something valuable, because it is. When you start respecting your inner world, others start respecting it too. When you stop chasing emotional closeness starts moving toward you. Strong men don't force access. They attract it. 7. Desire. Needs space to grow. Most men suffocate attraction without realizing it. They text too much. They explain too much. They check in too much. They try too hard. They think effort equals desire. It doesn't. Effort keeps things alive. Space makes things grow. Desire is not logical. You cannot negotiate it. You cannot convince it. You cannot talk it into existence. Desire responds to feeling, and one of the strongest feelings is absence. Not disappearance, not neglect, but space. Space allows anticipation. Anticipation creates longing. Longing creates desire. When you are always present, always available, always accessible, there is nothing to miss. If nothing is missed, nothing is desired. Many men are afraid of giving space because they fear being forgotten. That fear pushes them to overcompensate. They overmessage. They overcheck. They over-pursue. That energy communicates, I'm scared to lose you. Fear is felt, and fear is not attractive. Men need to understand, if a woman likes you, space will not make her disappear. If she disappears because you gave space, she was never solid to begin with. Chasing someone who only stays when you apply pressure is a losing game. Desire grows in breathing room, just like fire needs oxygen. Smother a fire, and it dies. Smother attraction, and it dies too. Space also signals self-respect. It says, I have a life, I have responsibilities, I have purpose. Purpose is attractive. Men who revolve their entire world around a woman slowly lose their center. When you lose your center, you lose your edge. Women are drawn to men who are anchored in their own lives, men who move with direction, men who are not waiting around for replies, men who are not emotionally hovering. Space is not silence. Space is balance. You engage, you connect, you enjoy. Then you return to your life. You don't linger endlessly. You don't stretch interactions until they feel heavy. You let moments end naturally. That creates room for wanting more. Most men think, if I give her more of me, she'll want me more. Reality. The right amount of you makes her want more. Too much of you makes her feel full. And people don't crave what means no effort to obtain. Desire is fed by scarcity. Not artificial scarcity, natural scarcity. The scarcity of a man who is living, a man who is building, a man who is moving forward. Space is not a tactic, it's a lifestyle. And that lifestyle quietly fuels desire. Conclusion. Here's the controversial truth most men refuse to admit. Being emotionally available all the time is the fastest way to make a woman lose interest in you. Yes, you heard that right. All those years you've been open, honest, and expressive thinking it would make you more attractive. It's probably been working against you. You're not being weak or unloving, you're simply misunderstanding what women actually desire. Constant availability doesn't spark desire. It creates emotional dependence, kills mystery, and erodes attraction. I know this might sting because society has told you the opposite. You've been told that to be a good man, you must always share, always listen, always be present. And now I'm telling you that the exact thing you thought made you better in her eyes might actually make her want less of you. Controversial? Absolutely. True? Every single time. Here's what I want you to do. Think about your past interactions. Were you too available? Did you overshare? Did you overexplain? Comment below with your experiences, the moments where you felt like, maybe I messed this up, or I think I tried too hard. I'll personally read your comments and reach out to a few of you. I want to connect, break down what really went wrong, and help you turn this understanding into real attraction. Remember, this is not about becoming cold or manipulative. It's about becoming a man who commands presence, creates tension, and protects his emotional world. Attraction grows in balance, in restraint, and in the space you allow yourself to have. And here's the cliffhanger for the next video. In the next one, I'm going to reveal the one thing men do that instantly destroys attraction in women, even if they think they're doing everything right. It's brutal, it's shocking, and most men have no idea they're guilty of it. Don't miss it.